we take it, and then we take the trips.
Just a few safety rules to get going before we start. First, if you need guest assistance or have a medical emergency, or if you drop something of value off the side of the tram or have any sound or video issues, reach up and grab the red emergency cord that runs along the center of the ceiling of the tram, and I'll be back to assist you as soon as it's safe to do so. Otherwise, during the entire tour, please stay seated and keep your arms and legs inside the vehicle at all times. Remember to use the red cord above your head if you need any assistance. The studio is private property, and if at any time during the tour you drop your phone or just can't wait to use the restroom, pull the red cord and remain seated. Please no smoking of any kind during the tour. Be prepared. Our tour today features loud noises, sudden tram movements, fire effects, and many water effects. You want to have your cameras out for great photo opportunities, but keep an eye on them so they don't get wet. And finally, for your safety and the safety of those around you, please do not use selfie sticks while you are on board. By the way, just want to let you know, typically the backlot sets are an undecorated blank canvas until production choose how they should look for a specific show. But in celebration of our 60th anniversary, much of the studio lot is camera ready and filled with surprise and photo opportunities. And by the way, let me introduce a couple of y'all. My name is Spencer. I'm your guide. Everyone, give me a round of applause. Thank you, thank you. Keep that applause going for your driver, Gary. Yeah, and keep that applause going for my friend and yours, my co-host here from the Tonight Show. It's the man, the myth, the legend himself, Mr. Jimmy Fallon. What's up, Jimmy?
Hi, I'm Jimmy Fallon. Welcome aboard the world famous studio tour. I know you're thinking, why the touch? Well, we're celebrating our 60th anniversary. That's right, 60 years of glitz, glamour, and our own great white star. As we celebrate our diamond anniversary today, and pay tribute to Universal's past and take you behind the scenes to discover why this studio tour is world famous. So whether this is your first visit or your 60th, get ready for fun, excitement, and an experience like no other.
And thank you, Jimmy. By the way, let's talk about some of our history here, because on March 15th, 1915, our founder Carl Lemley invited the public into the studio to watch silent movies being made. Guests could walk from set to set and marvel at the new technology involved in filmmaking. With the invention of sound and the need for quiet on the set, the original walking tour ended. In the 1960s, under the leadership of company chairman Lou Wasserman and executives Al Dorskin and Jay Stein, the idea of reviving a tour of the studio returned when the Great Line bus tours originating in Hollywood made a stop at our gates. On July 15, 1964, the first of our red and white candy-striped glamour trams took 67 passengers on a 2-hour driving tour of the Universal lot, and the world-famous studio tour was born. We started with 2 drivers, 2 guides, and 1 ticket seller working out of a trailer on Lankershim Boulevard. From there, the studio tour expanded with fantastic one-of-a-kind Hollywood elements like the rock slide and the burning house, which were in the area here of the Backlot in the 1970s and 80s. And today you are in one of our 60th anniversary glamour trams. It's one of our super trams, but dressed up in throwback style. This red and white candy striping was originally created by Harper Goff, a well-known Hollywood art director and set designer who worked on movies like Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory for Paramount and was known for his fantastical designs. In 1983, we upgraded to super trams, allowing us to carry more guests and experience more thrills. In 2000, we added onboard video, turning the tram into a movie theater on wheels, and in the past 5 years, we've gone electric. That's right, it's electric right here at Universal Studios Hollywood. Let's see where the studio tour takes us today. By the way, we're coming down the rest of our timeline. On your left-hand side, you might see a new poster for our 11th Best Picture winner, Oppenheimer. That's right, y'all, which you can see streaming on Peacock, 11 Best Picture winners here in our history of Universal. And then on your right-hand side, of course, a glimpse of Super Nintendo World, one of our newest attractions right out here on property. And even further down, we're going to see a couple of sound stages. Inside these sound stages, we can create any kind of setting that the script demands in a controlled environment. Everything from Whoville to Scarface's mansion to Dracula's castle, Frankenstein's lab, many different locations that are filmed right inside these sound stages. But this was also home to Enid Head's office and the preview center back in the 1970s and the 1980s. You know, several years ago, but even to this day, we're still making movies and TV shows classics and classics to be, including Bel Air, which is a dramatic retelling of the sitcom The Fresh Prince of Bel Air. Here to tell you more about it are a couple of the stars of that show, Jabari Banks and Holly Shoulderman.
We're leaving the theme park behind and entering the front lot where real Hollywood magic is made. Now, then inside the sound stages that surrounds us, we can be in any kind of environment the script demands. For the past 60 years, studio tour visitors have driven right by these buildings, and inside these walls, the sets from your favorite TV shows and movies have transported audiences anywhere the imagination can take you. Even to a palatial mansion in Bel Air. When we film Bel Air, we love coming out of the sound stages and seeing the trams filled with excited guests as they drive by. So, keep an eye out. You never know who or what you'll see on the studio tour.
Thanks, Ollie. Thanks, Jabari. That's right. You never know who or what you might see out here on property. By the way, Ollie, the guy in the blue shirt, I actually saw him driving a golf cart on Friday. So you just actually never know who you're going to see right out here on property. So again, have those cameras out and ready. By the way, Soundstage 14 on your left-hand side is home to Bel Air, but was also home to a lot of different television shows throughout the years, including one of my favorites, the NBC series Superstore. Pretty cool to see. And here's a little look at some of our shows we produced throughout the years. Okay, coming up on your right-hand side, two of my best friends, our first celebrity sightings. You know them, you'll love them. Everyone say hello to Kevin and Stuart, the Minions. Anyone have a banana? Banana, banana. No bananas? That's okay. These TV shows we produce over the years are absolutely appealing. And speaking of things that are appealing, here to tell you more about the Minions franchise is Chris Melodondri.
In the early days of the studio, these bungalows were used as dressing rooms to the stars of Hollywood's golden age. Now, they're used as offices where some of Hollywood's top directors, writers, and producers work their magic to get a production ready, including my company, Illumination. At Illumination, we've made some of the most successful animated films in box office history, including Despicable Me, The Lorax, The Secret Life of Pets, Minions, Sing, The Grinch, and the Super Mario Brothers movie. And the team is hard at work again as we launch our next film, Despicable Me 4. I know you love your dada.
He just doesn't show it on his face or with his body language.
We've had some really...
On your left-hand side, you might see a balloon for a really popular musical because we got the movie musical Wicked coming out this fall. And also, for those who get the movie musical reference, I said we got a popular musical.
And I believe that that's why these movies have stayed in people's hearts.
Get it? Because the song in Wicked is called Popular. Anybody? Anyway, all right, y'all. It's time to defy gravity. Here we are, leaving our front lot, heading into our back lot. The last stop here are these sound stages, home to Lopez versus Lopez and St. Dennis Medical from the creator of Superstore, Justin Spitzer. So, of course, I'm excited about that one. But here to tell you a little bit more about our back lot, it is our co-host, Jimmy Fallon.
We're about to cross the imaginary boundary onto the back lot, where we have exterior sets from many outdoor scenes. Over the last 60 years, studio tour guests have seen these locations turned into big cities, quiet suburbs, even that guy's hometown. Yeah, that guy. For countless movies and TV shows. This is Universal's Metro Sets.
Hey, Jimmy, that's right. Universal Metropolitan Sets, or as Jimmy said, Metro Sets. We film the big stuff out here. Exterior scenes on a grand scale. This could be cars jumping through buildings, superheroes jumping through buildings, stunt people jumping through buildings. By the way, y'all, if you're a fan of the reality competition series American Ninja Warrior, we actually built some obstacle courses out here for that series. Also for my fans of Jim Carrey, this coming up on your right-hand side was his neighborhood in the movie Bruce Almighty. So here's a little glimpse of that right here. But not only do we film these movies and TV shows out here, we also film a lot of classics. Here to tell you a little bit more about it is Bob Gale and Leah Thompson.
Welcome to the Courthouse Square.
These sets were used to create Hill Valley and the Back to the Future films.
And they represented multiple time periods, 1985, 1955, and the far, far distant future, 2015. To this day, this is one of the most popular sets on the Universal Studio Tour.
We had a lot of fun making those films here on the lot. I wonder what it'd be like to go back to those days. If only we had a time machine.
Hey everybody, do you think we can get this tram up to 88 miles per hour?
100%.
See you in the future.
That's right. Welcome to Courthouse Square. Put up on your left-hand side, you're going to see City Hall. Well, City Hall was once home to the clock tower from that famous franchise.
It was actually the Backlot of the courthouse.
Let's break this down. You can see right here on your screen the clock tower as it appeared in Hill Valley Back to the Future. And to your left, what it looks like today, you'll see there's some differences, right? We took down the clock, changed the sign, changed the paint. There's a lot of small details we can change to take you to a whole new location but keep the building itself intact.
Where that inspired the entire climax to Back to the Future.
I had scenes up on the clock tower on that ledge. This ledge about that wide, and I was standing inside looking at the ledge, and I already had vertigo. I just thought there's no way in the world, no way I'm going to stand on that. I was up there for quite a while. Of course, I had a cable.
And not like we change the sign, we can also simply just turn a corner and take you to a new location. Where actually, in fact, Marty McFly and Doc Brown do live in New York right now because they have a musical on Broadway. I love the show. If you haven't seen it, highly recommend it if you get a chance to check it out. But here to tell you a little bit more about our New York streets is one of my other favorites, my BFF, Jack Black. What's up, Jack?
And self-action. Did you know the Metro sets were once the home to Hollywood's biggest star? Right here is where the original studio tour King Kong attraction resided from 1986 until 2008. He stood 30 feet tall and weighed in at 13,000 pounds. Over the years, millions of guests got to meet King Kong face to face as he shook the tram. So close you could feel his hot banana breath. Is that it? I believe that's my last line, and then the tram moves on to the next thing.
Indeed we do, Jack. Thanks for sharing. By the way, our New York streets have been home to a lot of different locations. Our Metropolitan sets for a lot of different locations throughout the years. Boston for Ted, Baltimore for Hairspray Live, New York for Home Alone 2, Lost in New York, Minneapolis for Jingle All the Way, the music video Flower from Jisoo for Blackpink, and of course, Chicago for the Blues Brothers.
When the Pinto fell and we saw it land and make this big hole.
And of course, this can all be done thanks to the stories we tell with different directors we work with throughout the years. Elizabeth Banks, Jordan Peele, and of course, Academy Award-winning director, Peter Jackson.
It's the original King Kong that was made. You saw that movie on TV when I was around 8 or 9 years old. I wanted to become a filmmaker. I like films that just take you away from your real life and sweep you up on the beach. Kong literally does that. I mean, you're on board the ship, you're sailing to a lost island, you're encountering monsters and creatures from prehistoric times. So I was thrilled when Universal invited me back to Skull Island, and it's great to have you along for the ride. Now, we have created this 3D immersive experience, so you don't have to have your glasses.
Continue on with the tour. That's what we call a rule of 3. Was produced on some of the world's largest digital 3D screens, standing at over 40 feet tall and 180 feet wide, and utilizes some of the most advanced technology in filmmaking today. Peter Jackson and his team at WhatFX have won 7 Academy Awards and worked on films such as, of course, King Kong, Avengers Infinity War, the Lord of the Rings trilogy, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, The Marvels, and their newest Academy Award winner, Avatar, The Way of Water.
And it's a project like studio tour, the audience is in the middle of the environment. They're looking in all directions, there's creatures coming at them, they're seeing Kong from this side and T-Rexes from the other side. Working on a movie, we're always moving. People are looking, they're looking straight ahead, they're looking at the shot that we're working on. Here you have to take into account that people are looking in all directions. Also, one of the things about this ride, unlike the movies that we're used to working on, there's no cuts. Because it's one giant shot, this tram that's driving along through Skull Island is where the tram is from. This ring represents where the screen is 10 meters away. We're really creating about 50 minutes of a feature film. That amount of visual information, that number of pixels, and presenting them to the audience, it's a hell of a ride.
Okay, so we're back in our Metropolitan sets. I wanted to point out something. Off to your left-hand side, you're going to see a giant wall. Give it up for the wall, y'all. Yeah, pretty cool stuff. Pretty cool. Well, let's talk about this wall, because did you say the best wall? Because this wall is actually just a facade, right? So we're actually looking at the back side of the facade, but on the other side, it's completely dressed and ready for filming. So if you want to take a minute, like, as we pass by this way, if you want to, like, do, like, one of these and, like, kind of turn your neck and look and see, you'll see that it's actually dressed completely like an apartment complex. So pretty cool to see. By the way, on your left-hand side, this giant brick wall, I did the math, and the total number of bricks on this brick wall is in fact a whopping 0. There are no bricks because it is all plaster, foam, rubber, plywood, fiberglass, which doesn't make it easier for us to rebuild and destroy. On your right-hand side, some of you may have noticed this 3D classic monster mural from Tristan Eaton, who, by the way, was all done by hand with no stencils, literally just completely spray painted by hand, no stencils. And pretty cool to think about, because we do have Dark Universe coming to Epic Universe in Universal Studios Orlando in 2025, so who knows what monsters we might see out there. Also, if you're a fan of The Voice, by the way, on your left-hand side, we're going to be getting up close to The Voice soundstage on soundstage 30, so feel free to take a picture of there as well if you want to see. Right over there. And then coming up on your left-hand side, we're actually going to be passing by a large body of water. It's known as Park Lake, but this body of water is what we call the Hollywood Ocean. And here in 1974, we added the Parting of the Red Sea to the studio tour, inspired by the classic film The Ten Commandments, a Paramount picture. The star of the movie, Charlton Heston, made an appearance to part the waters for our guests. The glamour tram seemed to drive right through the lake and give everyone on board a sea-level view.
Tell them they can walk on water. It's part of the tour.
There have also been exploding water mines, torpedoes, and prop submarines as part of the action in the lake. Also, a lot of really cute ducks. So if you see them, there's a lot of ducks. Sometimes they'll converge in the center, call a little duck town hall meeting. Super cute, super adorable. But I don't know if they know that was also once home to the Amazon River for our classic 3D monster movie, Creature from the Black Lagoon. There he is, the Gillman, aka Creature from the Black Lagoon, one of our classic monsters, who, by the way, y'all, released in 1954. That means he's actually a little older than the studio tour. He's celebrating his 70th anniversary, y'all. Can we get a Creature from the Black Lagoon? 70 years. I can top it. The Invisible Man just celebrated its 90th anniversary, y'all. Get up for the Invisible Man. He's on your left-hand side taking a bow right now. I can top it. The Hunchback of Notre Dame, y'all, get this, just celebrated its 100th anniversary, and it all started right here, our next destination, Little Europe, where we actually got the home of the monster movie in the 1930s. This was home to Egypt for the Mummy with Boris Karloff, Bride of Frankenstein, and with a change of a sign or a paint job, we can take you anywhere in the world. We've also brought you Paris for the Muppets, Genovia for Princess Diaries 2, Royal Engagement, and of course, The Afterlife. Welcome to the good place, y'all.
You, Eleanor Shellstrom, are dead.
Cool.
This location, the afterlife, come on. I've never ever seen this. You're in the good place.
I'm not supposed to be here.
All right, let's break this down. So again, we're entering into the afterlife, the good place, also Little Europe, as we mentioned. And you'll see there's a couple of things, some remnants of the good place out here. On your left-hand side, all chocolate everything. On your right, where everything fits. But one of the big things I wanted to point out here is what you see right there, center of your screen, yogurt. You'll see as how it appeared in the good place. Now what's interesting is usually I like to say, okay everyone, once you round this corner, take a look to your left-hand side, look for some blue doors and red trimming, and you'll see where yogurt stands today. But I don't have to do that anymore. Because on your left-hand side, we actually have Yogurt, 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 where it stood during The Good Place. So Kristen Bell sat over there, Ted Danson was over there at one point. Really cool to see right there the actual location of Yogurt, Yogurt, Yogurt. And for my fans of The Good Place, coming up soon, we're going to be seeing Neighborhood Railway Station 12358W. So get ready for cameras if you want to take a picture of that as well.
You can't risk going to the bad place.
Maybe it's not all that bad.
How can I help you?
What is the bad place like?
Well, it doesn't sound awesome.
No, Kristen Bell, the bad place doesn't sound awesome. What does sound awesome? Our little Europe facades off to your right-hand side, y'all. You can actually take a peek inside the windows and doors and see that they truly are just facades, again, the fronts and sides of buildings. On the inside, it's a floor, ceiling, and the structures holding the building into place, but nothing else really on the inside that can be used for filming. However, we did use these facades quite frequently throughout the years for a lot of different projects, from musicals like Rodgers and Hammerstein's Cinderella, starring Granny and Whitney Houston, and of course, our classic monster movies during the Angry Mob scenes.
Get out the back house. Raise all the men you can, lock everything indoors, and wait for me. I'm ready!
You always only think of monsters.
Dracula, Frankenstein, Bride of Frankenstein,
The Mummy,
The Hunchback of Notre Dame,
The Invisible Man,
Phantom of the Opera. Classic films. They're just brilliantly made.
That Frankenstein image,
Flatman, bolts.
it's one of the great icons of the world.
That to me was like the essence of the Universal film. And I was just mesmerized by it. Boris Karloff, Lon Chaney.
I remember the original Universal Studios Mummy movie really scaring me.
It's still ringing on memories now, and we love it.
A lot of our classic monsters over the years utilizing practical effects, but as technology has changed, so have we. We've utilized a lot of visual effects throughout the year, and we love our visual effects, we love our practical effects. We do have a lot of movies that have utilized practical effects throughout the years, and I want to share some more with you. But first, you know what? I think it's time for a little vacation. What say you? Let's take a stroll over here to Amity Island, the small New England town terrorized by a giant man-eating shark in that classic summer blockbuster, Jaws. But there's no need to worry, they finally caught that famous shark. You're going to see him hanging up on your right. In fact, my police diver friend George is out in the water right now, doing one final sweep before we opening the pier to make sure everything is peachy keen for the public to cruise. Now, as you know, the rain in Spain stays mainly in the plain, but out here the water's kind of go whichever way. So, you know, I think we should be fine until... I hear the ominous music. I see something in the water. It's fine. I'll tell George. He'll take care of it. He's a pro. But I'll give him a warning just in case. Hey, George. Heads up, buddy. Yeah, by George, I think he's got it. Hey, George. George? Oh, by George, I don't think he's got it. Okay, well, you know what we're going to do is we're just going to say goodbye to George for now. Bye. And say hello to our lovely hiding spot behind this pier where nothing can possibly go wrong. And in fact, there's some bait attached to that barrel, so hopefully whatever's in the water will take that bait. Oh, he took the bait and took our hiding spot with him. So much for that. Okay, I can assure you nothing else could possibly go wrong. Oh, that's a fire. I wasn't expecting that. Okay, I can assure you from here on out, if we all just stay seated, remain calm, everything will be totally peachy keen. Nothing else could possibly go wrong. Ooh, I'm not scared, you're scared. I'm also not a marine biologist, but someone on this tour has to be. So on the count of three, we're going to shout out what type or what species of shark that is. So take a good look. Get your thinking caps on the count of three. Shout out what type or what species of shark it is. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Mechanical. Yeah, mechanical. Everybody give it up for Bruce, the mechanical shark. Cool water effects right here. Speaking of cool water effects, here to tell you a little bit more about other cool water effects we have here on this tour is one of my best friends, Today's Show co-anchor and weatherman, Al Roker.
Time for my favorite part of the tour, weather.
When it comes to film and TV, it is truly a special effect. In fact, to demonstrate how weather effects are created, we debuted our first major attraction here on the studio tour way back in 1968. Welcome to the only part of the backlot with a 100% chance of rain. The flash flood.
Thanks, Roger. Yeah, so you're going to be seeing some lightning. Here's some thunder out here. Lightning, very simply, a strobe lighting. In fact, thunder, very simply, a speaker system. All technology you know and love, and it's nice to listen in to see how peaceful it can all be. So there's the rain. Okay, rain's a little more complicated. We use brand new technology we just discovered last week. Brand new, write this down. It's called a sprinkler system, and it shoots water straight up through the air where it falls back down to earth naturally. Now see the rain is curved at an angle. You ever held an umbrella above your head but your sides got wet? It's probably because that rain was at an angle. Bring an umbrella off to the side, your sides will probably stay dry, but the top of your head might get wet. So you find exactly the right rain angle to umbrella angle ratio to keep yourself entirely dry. Find that perfect balance. We can find that perfect balance when it comes to the camera as well, based on the angles we want to use and story we want to tell. You kind of put it all together, and then that's what creates like the look. Oh, looks like that flash flood that our worker was talking about is kind of towards the tram. Watch out, take cover. All right, here's how that flash flood looks in the movie Big Fat Liar, which, by the way, was produced by the director of one of my favorite movies of all time, Good Burger. And this year of Old Mexico was used in Nacho Libre starring Jack Black, as well as in a few episodes of the HBO series Westworld. And speaking of the West, howdy y'all, welcome to 6 Points, Texas. Can I get a yeehaw? Yeah. Okay, all right. Small but mighty. No, it's 10 out of 10. That was perfect. Those are many of our classic Western stars moseyed down, and we actually filmed a lot of projects here over the years, many of which have gone on to win the Academy Award for Best Production Design. Now, how do our production designers do it? Well, let's break it down, because everything out here looks pretty authentically Western, making it a little bit easier for our production designers. Everything looks pretty authentically Western, except maybe one thing. See if you can spot it. If you look to your left, to your right, in front of you, behind you, but on the ground, just see that we're traveling down paved road. Well, paved road is not authentically Western, so that's where our production designers come in, and in fact, our production designers will bring in gallons and gallons and gallons of dirt that they'll spread across all of these roadways, film whatever project they need to film, and then as part of their wrap or their cleanup process, they will dispose of all of that dirt once they're done filming. So again, one small detail they can utilize to take you to a whole new location to keep the buildings themselves intact. Pretty cool to think about. All right, I just want to let you know that our tour is now approximately at the halfway mark, so I just want to remind everyone to stay seated during the entire tour. The studio is private property, and if you drop your phone or just can't wait to use the restroom, pull the red cord to get my attention, and I'll be back to assist you, but do remain seated on the tram. All right, y'all. Back to our practical effects, our water effects. We got Park Lake over there on your left-hand side. We're going to swoop it back by, seeing a couple more locations, but I'm here to tell you a little bit more about, one of my favorite movies, a movie that's going to be celebrating its 50th anniversary in 2025, so next summer, celebrating 50 years. It's, you've probably heard of him. He's an up-and-coming director. His name is Steven Spielberg. This is a clip to tell you all about his idea for making Jaws.
The Jaws ride was almost the inevitable result of the size of the box office when Jaws first opened in June of 1975. And that was really the first time I ever got involved in the creation of a ride. It was a great honor to be invited into a creative circle of tremendous designers at Universal that were trying to figure out how to replicate what the movie had done to audiences in a real way by building a physical shark that would come out of the water and terrify tourists as they were sitting in the tram. And the most amazing thing about the Jaws ride is it is exactly as it was from the time it was first placed on Universal Lot. There have been tweaks, of course, over the years, but it is essentially what the designers and myself all envisioned and created. I'm done bashing the shark. Thank you, Jaws, for everything you've done for me. But I will say, conceptually, the shark did work much better on the tour than it did in the Atlantic Ocean in 1974.
Good to know. Thanks, Stephen. By the way, we're now going to be leaving our vacation homes and entering into our suburban homes. Coming up here on your right-hand side, a two-story chicken ranch, and it is a practical set. So that means we can film not only the fronts and the sides of the building, but the interior, exterior, upstairs, downstairs. Everything can be fully utilized for filming. And what's cool is just in front of that, you're actually going to see a facade. So you'll see it's literally just one side of a house. See a nice juxtaposition here between a practical set versus a facade. Also for my fans of horror movies, House of a Thousand Corpses, Rob Zombie's Firefly house was that house right there. All right, here you're living into Colonial Street. You might know it as Wisteria Lane. It's where Davy and her mom live in Never Have I Ever. The Offspring filmed a couple of music videos from their album here. On your classic album, I highly recommend. And somebody once told me they filmed the classic millennial anthem All Star by Smash Mouth out here as well. Now I do want to point out that we also filmed Boston for Ted out here. See if you can spot which house we utilize for this series.
Oh, come on, Johnny, we're doing a public service here. If a kid leaves the house in a less than stellar Halloween costume, he's got to get the bad news before he makes a fool of himself all over town. We're Samaritans.
All right, I want to talk about this clip because I love it. One, I think it's hilarious. I'm excited for the show. But two, we actually have to see the inside of the house. Believe it or not, most of the houses you see right out here on property are actually just the facades. There's nothing on the inside of the house. So again, everything you saw in there, the rug, the shelving units, all of that was all built from scratch inside the house specifically for Ted. That's what we can do out here. We can make it, you know, rain on a Tuesday. We can make it snow in the middle of July. We can even make Wisteria grow all year round. Because believe it or not, Wisteria does not grow all year round. We can make it so thanks to the stories we tell with our different departments. Production design, art department, art direction, set dressing, properties, grounds, greens, etc., so on and so forth. And we might change a couple small details, give you a little bit of deja vu, and it's a different location. We might change the paint on the front door, the potted plant on the front porch, even simply just the street address. Take, for example, off to your right-hand side, the second house, the yellow house, home to Susan Delfino, but it's also home to Davy and her mom. And who do they live next door to? None other than a lilac house at 1313 Mockingbird Lane. That's right, the Munsters. Right next door to Davy and her mom. Who would have thought? We can make it so right out here on property in Colonial Street and anywhere else. Makes the stories we tell in different genres, comedies, dramas, monsters, as well as many different types of projects as well. Television shows, commercials, reality competitions, music videos, and of course, movies. And by the way, lots of movies are filmed out here on our lot and also out on location, including a classic. We've seen a little bit of it. 1955, 1985, 2015, Back to the Future, directed by Robert Zemeckis. Coming up on your left-hand side, Lion Estates, you might recognize that, where Marty McFly lives. These are the replicas built for the 30th anniversary of the movie, and the movie's going to be celebrating its 30th anniversary in 2025, so get ready for that. That being said, one of the producers of that movie, executive producer, was Steven Spielberg.
My entire career began with my relationship with Universal Studios just as a high school kid on a tour bus. Remember, in those days, there weren't trams, there were buses called the Gray Line Tour Bus. And I was so excited and thrilled to be on the lot. It was my first time ever on a movie studio lot. And during a bathroom break, I hid in the bathroom, and when everybody left to get back on the bus, I waited another 15 minutes until I'm sure the bus left, and then I had the entire lot to myself that way. And in those days, movie lots were so crowded because all movies were made on film lots. Say they're made all over the world, on location, but most of it was focused in those days, in the 60s, on the film lots. So nobody noticed me when I was going around from soundstage to soundstage, and I really felt, in my own young way, I owned the lot and had the most amazing day of my life.
Thanks, Steven. Pretty cool. He had an amazing time. I'm having an amazing time. Are y'all having an amazing time? All right, let's see how we're doing. Car one, if you're doing good, give me a thumbs up. And like a woo. Great. Car two. Car three. Car four. Great. All right, we're crushing it, y'all. We're having a good time. We're having an amazing time. You all are amazing. Give yourselves a round of applause. And keep that applause going for this incredible crash site from the movie War of the Worlds from Steven Spielberg. That's right. And by the way, what I find really interesting about this is that I actually, every time I come through, I find some new prop that I didn't notice before. I noticed a broken ukulele or broken violin. There was a ukulele out here. There's an actual baseball trophy with an actual baseball inside of it. So you just never know what you might see. I saw a pink flip-flop. So if y'all find both, let me know, because I know there's one down that way, but I'm trying to find both of them. So a lot of stuff, cool stuff right out here you can see. Also for my fans of Nicki Minaj and Rihanna, this was the plane that they used for their music video Fly. They're dancing around on this airplane right out here. A real airplane, by the way, brought here from an airplane graveyard in Northern California, destroyed specifically for this incredible crash site. From one iconic set to the next, welcome to Mother's House from the 1960 thriller Psycho. In fact, this was a 3/4 scale replica of a house when they filmed the movie to make it look kind of creepier, and then they kind of built it into a full house. And speaking of replicas, we actually have our very own replica of a Hollywood sign out here while we're celebrating our 60th anniversary. They're actually celebrating their centennial anniversary of the Hollywood sign. And by the way, for the first few decades of the studio tour, one of the hallmarks was a visit to Prop Plaza, where guests disembarked for once-in-a-lifetime photos and interact with characters, vehicles, and props from their favorite productions. Well, guess what? Just for our 60th anniversary, we brought that opportunity back. Now remember, folks, this is a limited stop. When you are ready to continue your tour, simply follow the signs. You'll be boarding a different tram, possibly with a brand new studio guide, so remember...
At this point of the tram tour, guests have the opportunity to jump off the tram itself at Bates Motel. Set up here are a number of photo opportunities and props from through the years of shooting. The photo opportunities include one of the trams set up as if it was 60 years ago, the Hollywood sign, Jaws, Fast and the Furious, and King Kong. After which you get back on the tram and head over to Nope.
Once you're ready to get back on a tram, just line up at the end of the black top press. There's this line that divides the black top and the gray top. Please stay on the black top. If the gates are open, you're more than welcome to board. If the gates are not open, please do not step forward until they have opened the gates. Jordan Peele.
I remember going to Universal Studios when I was 12 years old, feeling this feeling of wonder. One of my first trips at Universal Studios, seeing the Jaws ride, one of my favorite movies of all time. Just feeling like, that's him. That's the Jaws. Like, I don't even know if that is the Jaws. I hope it is. Sharing space with Hitchcock and Spielberg, I couldn't be more proud.
That's a little look at Nope, Jordan Peele's newest movie, Academy Award-winning writer-director. And now we're going to take a look at the actual sets from that movie. So without further ado, howdy y'all, yeehaw, welcome to Jupiter's Claim.
Movie magic only happens when a team of collaborators, often in the hundreds, work together to take an impossible notion and bring it to life. This is Jupiter's Claim, a nostalgic, small-time Southern California amusement park owned by former child star Ricky Juke Park. Over there, look into the Winky Realm and have your picture taken just like the kids in that old 90s movie Kid Sheriff. That's what this whole place is loosely based on. Remember that one? No? Why? A little further down, you can see the brand new Star Lasso experience. To showcase an unbelievable new live show. It's not looking so live anymore. Anyway, behind this Hollywood fantasy of a golden rush frontier town lies a sinister secret. It is smack dab in the center. What's a bad miracle? Welcome to the world of no.
We are heading out of there, and we are heading toward the part of the studio where we once had an attraction called the Doom Glacier Expedition, better known as the Ice Tunnel, featured in an episode of The $6 Million Man starring Lee Majors with Andre the Giant as Bigfoot. The tram would climb to an imaginary elevation of 12,000 feet, and the only way back to the theme park was through the ice tunnel, where the slightest sound could trigger an avalanche, and it always did, causing the walls to spin and guests to tilt, along with the Hollywood special effect. And of course, from a tilting ice tunnel to a continental drift, we are heading into Sullivan's Garage, where Dom and his crew are going to keep us safe. You will need your 3D glasses, but you do not need them just yet. I'll let you know when to put them on. Just have them ready to go for now. But in the meantime, I got a message here from a buddy of mine. Hold on one second. Hello? Hey, Roman. Yeah, if they're still here, I'll be opposite. Yeah. All right, thanks, Roman. Yeah, I'll bet you. All right, Roman said, happy birthday, Heidi, Roman, and Chase, if you're still here. And also, he says he has an important message. Let's see what he wants. What's up, Roman? Thanks, Jimmy, that's right. And thank you for celebrating 60 years of the studio tour with us. For 6 decades, we've given you an insider look into Hollywood, from TV's first golden age to our current era of streaming, and been watching your favorite TV shows. As movies get bigger on the big screen, we've given you exclusive access to ride with movies. No matter how much entertainment changes or how we experience it, we'll be here at the studio tour to show you how it's done. Our 60th anniversary is special to us because the studio tour is where it all began for Universal Destinations and Experiences. With 2 glamour trams traveling around the studio lot in the summer of 1964, we have developed into so much more, including 7 parks entertaining millions of guests every year, and the upcoming Universal Epic Universe opening in 2025. I'd also like to acknowledge all of our studio tour ambassadors, drivers, and studio guides throughout our history who have helped make the studio tour world famous, or our first 4 guides and drivers to the hundreds of team members who support the tour today. To our past members, thank you so much for being with us today. If you're not a past member, head to the Universal box office, see how you can upgrade today's ticket to an annual pass, but you can come back again and again. Download the Universal Studios Hollywood app to check out wait time, show times, and confirm what time the park closes today. If you're interested in purchasing any of the NBC Universal TV shows or movies I mentioned on the tour, please check out the website www.uphe.com or visit any retail location in the park.